Hi, I'm glad you could join me today. We're going to make a chocolate banana gluten-free snack cake. It's fairly easy and the recipe is not complicated for first-time bakers, but it's a nice little treat. This is a cup and a half of gluten-free flour with xanthan gum, and you always need to remember the xanthan gum. That's the glue that sticks it together. We have 1 cup of sugar, 1/4 of a cup of cocoa, teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of baking soda because it's bananas. I have 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 3/4 of a cup of milk, 1/3 of a cup of oil, and 1½ mashed bananas. What we're going to do first, we're going to sift all the dry ingredients together, then we're going to mix the wet ingredients, then we're going to incorporate the two, put it in a baking dish, bake it for 30 minutes at 350 degrees, and that's all there is to this recipe. You can serve it with ice cream or whipped cream or whatever you like, and warm is delicious, cold is good too. Okay, so in my little sifter I have my 1½ cup of flour. I'm going to pour my 1 cup of white sugar in there. I'm going to add my salt and my baking soda. I'm going to add the cocoa. I always like to sift the stuff so then there's no little lumps. It makes it easier to mix. Then you just shake this sifter till you get all the ingredients broken up and nicely mixed together. And when you look in the bottom of your sifter, you'll see there's little bits that don't really go through very well, so you just take them out, put them off to one side. I'm just going to set that over here. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move that over. I'm going to take my wet ingredients, I'm going to take my banana, I'm going to add the oil to the mashed banana. You need to mash them up. You can use a fork or a potato masher or whatever you like. I'm going to add the vanilla, and the lemon juice, which really just makes it into kind of a sour milk as opposed to regular milk. And then you just take your wooden spoon and you mix this all together till it's all smooth and creamy, lumpy, and all looks like it belongs together. And then you just stir this dry ingredients around with your wooden spoon, fork, whatever you want to use. I always use a wooden spoon because we have a tree grown in the backyard with wooden spoons on it. Then I'm going to make a little well in the center of this, and I'm going to pour this liquid mixture right in on top of the dry mixture. That's the charm of this recipe. You don't have to mix and incorporate and cream and do all that fun stuff that fancy bakers do to make fancy, light and fluffy cakes. Most of the cakes I make, I call them industrial cakes because you can do just about anything with them. They're very tasty, but they don't require a lot of work. And as you mix this together, you'll notice at the beginning that it's quite dry, but as you combine the banana mixture with the flour mixture, it'll get more moist as you're mixing. And you mix it for about 2 minutes. Okay, that's what the consistency of the batter looks like when we're ready to put it in the pan. Now you need a greased 8-inch square pan. You can use an aluminum pan. You can use 2 round pans if you like. You can make it like a little layer cake. Like I said, I like to bake, but I don't want to be a slave to baking, so I try to find easier ways for me, and these work for everybody. I'm going to use my little scraper. If you don't have a scraper, you can use a spoon. It just takes you a little longer. This is probably pretty boring for anybody that's watching it, so we try to make it really long so you don't have to spend too much time watching me do things that you don't need to know how to do anyway. There, and we just poke it into the corner of the pan so that it's square. I'm going to use my finger. Always wash your hands because you use your fingers a lot in gluten-free baking. And I'm just going to put that in the oven at 350 degrees for 30 minutes, and then we'll take it out and show you what the finished cake looks like. So what I've done now is the cake's come out of the oven. I've cut a nice piece. It's cooled a little bit, still fairly warm, and then I have a nice scoop of ice cream with it instead of frosting. And I hope you try this cake, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Thanks for watching.